Hi, everyone. How's it going? Hi,
Hello.
panelists. Can you all hear me? See me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. So it is 6:30, so we will go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone, to Sex in the Dark. You all may not be able to see each other, but we can see you. We decided to do Sex in the Dark um, in a Zoom webinar as opposed to just a regular Zoom event. That way you all can have the extra layer of anonymity. So no one can see your face, no one can see your video. So you can just feel free to ask whatever questions you would like. So Sex in the Dark for this semester is our last event for our KISS week. This is our office's first time doing KISS week, and KISS stands for Keeping It Safe and Sexy. So thank you to everyone who has joined all of our events for the week thus far. And we're excited to wrap it up with one of our favorites to put on, which is Sex in the Dark. There will be a poll at the end of this event, so please stick around to the end to take it. And then tomorrow you will be getting a survey in your emails just about KISS Week uh, overall. And we will be drawing winners from those who take the survey to win a KISS Week t-shirt. So please take that survey when you see it in your email. Also, I want to give a special shout out and a special thank you to the ladies of Sigma Lambda Gamma Sorority Incorporated. This whole week, they have been tweeting out our Sex in the Dark flyer, as well as sexual health tips and little pieces of advice. So definitely feel free to go on Twitter and check out the things that they've been tweeting at SHSU_gammas. So before I get into introductions of myself and our panelists, I do want to cover our ground rules that we have every year for Sex in the Dark. So the first rule is this event is called Sex in the Dark. We will be talking about sex. We will be talking about relationships. We will be talking about sexual health. So if any of that makes you uncomfortable, we understand, we get it. We hope that you would stick around to get, some questions answered, but take care of your star player. All right. Take care of yourself. If you need to step away and disengage from the conversation, please feel free to do that. We are going to record this session, so you can always feel free to watch it back on YouTube at a later date. So take care of yourself. Second, no questions are off limits. So please use the Q&A box to ask your question. There is a caveat to that though. We will not entertain questions that are racist, homophobic, sexist, xenophobic, misogynistic, or any other ist or ick that can be potentially harmful. So we won't entertain those questions, but other than that, give us what you got, okay? Third, nothing that we're going to talk about today constitutes as official medical advice. So, although our panelists are very, very capable in the advice that they're going to offer, if you have questions about your personal medical situations or your personal mental or emotional situations, please make an appointment with your primary care provider, make an appointment with a counselor or to see a provider at the Student Health Center. But this is not official personalized medical advice. So please take care of yourself in that regards as well. And then lastly, this is a safe judgment-free zone. So relax, have fun. We like to have fun. We like to laugh. So please, please, please feel that you can be open and honest in your questions. And we will try to get as many questions answered as we have in the hour. If y'all don't ask any questions, this will be a very short event. So please hit up the Q&A box. There is a option to ask questions anonymously. You'll just hit the button that says anonymous, and that way nobody will be able to see who asked the questions. All right. So without further ado, I will introduce our speakers for the evening. So we have joining us Dr. Lauren McLean, Dr. McLean is a clinical assistant professor and clinical experiences coordinator for the Department of Counselor Education. Her area of expertise is in counseling for sexual concerns, LGBTQIAP+, mental health and wellness, and body image, and its impact on mental health and wellness. She has over 15 years of experience in the mental health field, working with a diverse range of clients. So thank you for being here, Dr. McLean. Next, we have Mr. James Thickens. He has an extensive higher education and investigative career. He has worked in higher ed for 15 years and has served in a variety of capacities, including working in the Dean of Students office as a counselor and investigations. James's philosophy in life is to be a lifelong learner. So thank you for being here, Mr. James. And then we have Miss Deborah Wayne Hester. She is a registered nurse and a fan favorite here at Sex in the Dark. She works up at the Student Health Center on campus, where she's been taking care of SHSU students for the last 6 years. She recently obtained her associate's degree in nursing from Lone Star College, and she's currently pursuing her bachelor's in nursing at the University of Texas in Arlington. And then I will be your host. My name is Brittany Clarkson. I am the health education specialist for the Office of Health Promotion. So let's get started. We will start with some questions while you all are still putting questions in the chat. And in the question and answer box, I have some questions that were emailed to me. So the first question says, should I be concerned if every time I have sex with my boyfriend, I end up bleeding right after, and sometimes it lasts for a couple of days?
I guess I'll take that one. You should be concerned. You can go see one of our gynecologists at the health center. You can see your own gynecologist just to make sure that everything is okay. There are some STIs that do not have any other symptoms. You don't have discharge or foul smell. But if you're having any pain or bleeding after having sex or during sex, you do need to follow up with a medical provider.
Awesome. Okay, the next question is, how can I let go of my inhibitions during sex and be more in the moment? It's not a trust thing. I trust him completely. I just struggle with letting myself go, if that makes sense.
That's a really good question. I think I'll try to tackle that one there. I think really just being in a position to, share with your significant other how you feel, and allowing them to offer their support as you guys are, creating an intimate moment or being intimate with each other. So I think that one way is to really talk to them about that. And then the other piece is to, if you need to talk with somebody, take a look at counseling services and talk with a mental health professional that could possibly assist you, because there may be something that you're needing, maybe some assistance, some advice that you're needing that they could possibly offer you that will help you with that particular situation that you're walking through.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, as a counselor myself, I always advocate for counseling for sure. But one thing that came to my mind was maybe learning about and engaging in some more mindfulness practices, looking that up, engaging in some meditative type practices that basically teach you how to be present in the moment. And if there's any thoughts or something that are coming up to distract you, learning how to just recognize that and let it go. And that way you can bring yourself back to the moment. And I think practicing some mindfulness can be very helpful in getting into the habit of doing it in other areas of your life.
Awesome. And I will throw my 2 cents in occasionally, but my biggest thing is communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let your partner know how you're feeling. Let them know that it's not a trust issue, that it's, what you feel like is an internalized issue. And maybe it might help to talk through it with them. They might have the same concern. So just communicate, just talk to each other. All right. So next question. What should I do if my girlfriend wants to have anal sex with me and won't stop asking?
I'll start there. So the question, I think the number one question would be, is if it's something that you're interested in, then by all means, and you're uncomfortable, by all means, I think the key thing is to make sure that you're communicating. If your girlfriend continuously keeps asking and you're not interested in it, I think it's important that you share your thoughts and your feelings with her. And if you're uncomfortable with that, then I think it's very important to make sure that you communicate that effectively so that she can understand that that's not something that you're interested in.
I agree. Communication, talking about what you want and what you don't want, and also, what you're willing to try, what you're willing not to try, and being patient with each other.
Yes, absolutely. Communicating is key. Letting your girlfriend know that that's not something that you are interested in at this time, and perhaps explaining why that's not interesting to you at this time, and just having open and honest conversations about your wants, needs, and desires, I think goes a long way. And having respectful and what's the word I'm looking for? Respectful and basically like adults, level-headed, mature conversations around that type of stuff, I think can go a long way in coming to an understanding of what's acceptable in the bedroom and what isn't.
Yeah, and even piggyback on that, I think it's also important to make sure that you establish boundaries in your relationship. So that's important as well.
Right, good. I love the questions that are being submitted. They're coming in. I have another question in my email. I'm going to try to paraphrase this, so I apologize if this is your question and I don't get the true nature of it. But it seems like the student is concerned because their partner is continually making excuses for why they don't want to use condoms. And the excuses range from I think I'm allergic to, I can't afford them, to I'm embarrassed to go and get them. So what can they do? I guess they're asking what they can do to convince their partner that using condoms is a good idea and to cut the excuses.
That's a great question. I mean, I love that question. And I think for one, I mean, if you can afford it, I would even suggest to you to even go purchase you some, or you can go to the nurse's station and get some condoms there and work on practicing safe sex. And I think the key thing is to really have a level of expectations as it relates to your sexual experiences with your partner. And so if they want to be intimate with you, and you have a level of expectation that is already set, don't lower those standards. And so if they don't want to have sex without a condom, then maybe they don't want to have sex. So
I agree. We give out condoms at the health center. We just had a condom Olympics. So there's availability. It doesn't have to be him that goes and gets the condoms. You can go and get them and say, this is what I expect. This is, like he said, don't lower your expectations. I don't want to have unprotected sex. And if you want to have sex, this is how we're going to do it. And there are all different types of condoms. So if he's allergic, there are different ones you can get.
Yeah, and I think, making it fun, going and seeing what kind there are. I mean, there's everything from flavor to texture to heats up. So, make it fun. Maybe that'll provide some motivation and get rid of maybe some of the excuses.
Yeah, you make application fun, putting it on fun, and that will change their mind.
And I can tell you, because there are free condoms at the pharmacy. All the nurses in the student health center have them. There are some in the Office of Health Promotion over at the Lee Drain Annex. There's some in the vending machines in the residence hall. I used to work at Target when I was in college. I couldn't care less if somebody bought condoms. I was worried about when I was going to get off work. So it's not something that people are going to be like, "Ooh, they buying condoms. I don't know what they're going to do." No, nobody really cares. So,
and we don't have cheap condoms. We have good ones.
we got the good stuff. All right. The next question is it normal not to be able to climax with your partner? I'm guessing at the same time as your partner or when you're with your partner. I'm sorry. Let's do both. Is it normal not to be able to climax with your partner and at the same time as your partner?
Well, I mean, I think everybody has a different level of experience. And so I think that one of the things that you should consider and understand is that every sexual relationship is different. And so if you're talking with your friends, don't compare your relationship with theirs if you have that concern. And again, I think that every sexual relationship is different. And so one of the things that you guys can work on together, again, I go back to effective communication and really working with each other to understand what's going to get you and your partner to that level together at the same time. And so it's more than just, the intercourse piece. It's really, really talking and sharing, hey, this is what helps me, this is what helps you, and how can we do this together to create something that's beautiful. So
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it's abnormal, quote unquote, abnormal at all, to not be able to climax or to not climax at the same time. A lot of people don't climax at the same time, so that's completely normal. And there are people that do not climax at all. However, if it's really distressing to you and it's interfering with your sexual relationships, your romantic relationships, then I definitely would suggest potentially getting checked out medically. And then also, if you feel like it's something like there's a mental block there, you can definitely talk to a counselor about some of the mental processes that are going on that might be preventing you from reaching orgasm with a partner.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to share, I had seen a statistic. This was a couple years ago, but it said something about 70 to 75% of women never reach an orgasm from intercourse alone, and 10 to 15% just don't under any other circumstances. So what's normal is just going to depend on you and your body, what turns you on and what gets you there. But I think that you got to throw out this notion of what's normal because it varies from person to person.
A lot of times we base what's normal off what we see on TV, and it's not abnormal, it's not unusual not to climax at the same time. It may be position changes that you need to try, different techniques, different things to try to reach a climax, but it's not abnormal not to climax at the same time.
All right. So the next question is it wrong to always worry about getting pregnant after having sex?
you gonna start? You can start if you want.
Come on, Nurse Debbie.
I'm sitting here laughing because in my 20s, that was probably my thought every time. Right there, like, oh Lord. But I mean, it's something that you shouldn't always fear, because if you fear something, then you go into it with hesitancy each time. So, if you're taking the proper precautions, then you should feel a little bit more relaxed afterwards. I tell people all the time, birth control is a two-person thing. It's not just dependent on one person. So look at different options for birth control, and that will kind of give you a little ease. But I've been there. I understand. It is, you think about your future. You're like, oh, did I just mess this up? So it happens. It's okay. But if it's every time, then it may be time to think about some other precautions to prevent in the beginning to start off with.
I'm just gonna say, I think everybody should have just done a snaps when you said it's just not a one person thing for birth control. If you don't want a baby, doesn't matter if you can carry your baby. If you don't want a baby, birth control is your job. All right, the next question. Are there any tips to promote more natural lubrication for females? Nurse Debbie, this WAP song really messed us up last semester. So,
Now, give me with the WAP. Using lubricant is not bad. It can make things more enjoyable. As far as trying to create more of your own, there's a delicate pH balance, so you don't want to throw things off. The lubricants that you buy now in the stores, they won't mess up your pH, so that's a good thing. But using lubricant, it's not bad.
All right, and we also have lubricant. We have Astroglide at the Student Health Center as well.
Okay.
So, and lubricant is actually a really good safe for sex product because it helps prevent tearing, which can help prevent the transmission of STIs. So, don't be afraid to tear open a small packet of Astroglide or get you some KY jelly. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Okay, next question. Do vaginas actually become loose by being stretched out from having a lot of sex?
Oh, hit the wrong button. I guess that's me, huh? You'll be fine. You'll be fine. The vagina is a very forgiving organ. It pushes out babies. And if you've ever seen a delivery on YouTube or anything, it's amazing. So it all shrinks back down. So you don't have to worry about that. I know there are like little things people do and say that you can do the procedures to tighten things up, but it shrinks back. It bounces back.
What would you say about Kegels?
Well, Kegels do help. They do help. They help with a lot of things, especially as you get older. So you do want to do the Kegel exercises to keep it, I was say tight and right, but to
keep your pelvic floor.
Hey, you hit me with WAP. I think I can say
fair enough.
But Kegel exercises are good, especially doing them now in your 20s, so that when you're in your 60s, it's even better.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone, I promise. Okay. The next question, it says, I grew up in a household that made me feel like if I have sex, I lose my worth as a woman. I'm in a committed relationship, but I can't bring myself to have sex. I feel bad and guilty.
Wow, that's I'll start there. I think one of the things that you have to learn how to do is to be able to let go of your past, be able to let go of some of the things that was instilled in you, so that you can enjoy life. I know for me growing up, I grew up as a church kid. I was born in the church. I went to church on Tuesdays, on Fridays, and it was the most unpopular thing to do. And from a strict family in that regards. And so I found myself, and I'll be transparent, I found myself in a position of thinking a certain way, but the reality was it was okay for me to do different things. And so I think to answer that question is sometimes you have to dig deep and learn to have the gift of goodbye with certain traditions that you were raised with in order for you to fully develop and become the person that you want to be. So that's my answer.
Yeah, Dr. McLean, did you have anything to add to that one? Okay, maybe she stepped away for a second.
I will say though, I love that gift of goodbye, but make sure that it is that you're comfortable and that you're not doing it because your partner wants to, because you want to make sure it's that you're ready and you just don't want to rush into something that you're not ready for.
I also think, and I again, like Mr. Thickens, I grew up in the church. My family was the type of family we had our assigned row, right? Because it was about 9 of us, so we had a whole row. So that was our row. But I think the beauty of college is that you come to college, to university to learn, but you also come to discover who you are. So you do bring your values, you bring your belief systems, you bring everything that was instilled in you for the last 18 years with you. But while you're here, you get to decide who you are. So there's a lot of self-discovery. There's a lot of experimentation. We hope that it is all safe and healthy, but we know that some old habits die hard. So just I know it's COVID, and I know there's not like a whole bunch of running around and hopping from place to place. We hope, right? But use this time to figure out who you are, who you want to be, what values that you want to keep, and what values maybe you don't hold so dear as you thought you did because those are what your parents held. So just really getting real with yourself. And if that means, talking it out with a counselor or talking it out with, a group of friends, just really figuring out who it is that you are. And you'll see a lot of things start to undo. And then you hopefully that bad feeling and that guilt will undo as well.
Yeah, and to add to that last piece, the only thing that's consistent in life is change. And so that includes us as individuals. We're constantly ever changing. And so don't necessarily be so hung up on the past that you're not able to see what's in front of you. And that is change. So that's all I wanted to add to that.
Yeah. All right. The next question. If I had sex with someone and could not feel him inserted in me, only a small amount of pressure, is that normal? Does that mean he is too small, or is there something wrong with me?
There's nothing wrong with you. It may be that you need to change positions, try something different. And that can be the fun and trying new things, hey, let's try this and see if this works, or if I feel more penetration if we do it this way. So it could just be a matter of changing positions.
All right. So I got another question in my email. This one says, due to the pandemic and the availability of hand sanitizer everywhere, my girlfriend is always sanitizing her hands. She prefers that over washing because it's more convenient, I guess. My issue is that sometimes she wants to touch me in my private areas when I know she hasn't washed her hands, only sanitized them. Is this an issue? Should I encourage her to wash her hands before touching me?
Hand sanitizer is effective, but I am also one of those people, like after 3 times of using hand sanitizer, it's time for some soap and water, but that's my preference. And it sounds like that's your preference, is that she wash her hands more frequently. It's okay to communicate that to her and tell her, this is how I feel. I know you feel comfortable using your hand sanitizer and it does work, but I need you to wash your hands. I would feel more comfortable. And it's a matter of communication. It all goes back to communication.
Agreed. Okay, next question says, I'm afraid to let my boyfriend perform oral sex on me out of fear that he will think I smell and or taste bad. That's what it says. I guess it is there. I don't know if it's what can I do to overcome this fear, or is this something I should be concerned about, or how maybe could they address this concern that they may smell or taste bad?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the key thing there is communication. So really talking with your significant other and sharing your true feelings and thoughts on how you may feel. And you guys, again, have an opportunity, as Ms. Hester said, to really explore and to make that oral piece something that is exciting, make it something that you guys both kind of dive in together. And at the same time, you're also facing your fears, and your partner will then be comfortable in knowing, hey, she's uncomfortable with this, so why don't I reassure her? Or if there is something that's going on, then I'll be able to effectively communicate that with her. And then that way you guys can kind of grow into that. So that would be my answer for you there.
Awesome. And I also I think that sometimes, even though you can't smell like TV or social media, I think the media has kind of gotten into our heads that like women's vaginas and vulvas should smell like tropical punch and roses and perfume. And that is not the case. If it smells like, a bouquet of flowers, it is covered up in lots and lots of stuff, right? So the vagina is a self-cleaning organ, right, Ms.
Yep.
Nurse Debbie? So there's no need to put lots of perfumes or scented things up there, right? Because
Don't do that.
It's not supposed to smell like roses. It smells like it smells. And when should the smell be concerning?
When it's a foul smelling smell, a fishy smell, then that's concerning.
Yeah. But if it's just
and sometimes using scented products can cause the smell. So like you said, it's self-cleaning. It's like, so it'll be okay.
All right. So the next question, I have never had sex. Whenever I see scenes that contain this on television, I get a deep sense of shame. How can I overcome this feeling?
To be honest, I would kind of take a look at maybe what are some of the messages that you have received around like sex and sexuality and how that's influenced you today. And again, if you're feeling distressed or distraught about, and it's affecting your romantic relationships, your sexual relationships, definitely seek assistance with a counselor. And just know that, sex and sexuality is definitely a part of who we are as human beings. It's who we are at our core. It's a part of human nature, and it really is nothing to be ashamed of. And just kind of defining your own values and wants and needs surrounding sex, and just being confident in that. If sex isn't something that you're interested in at this time, or you would prefer to wait until marriage, that's perfectly fine. That is up to you. But if sex is something that you want to explore, you can always start to explore that in small increments on your own terms and with what you feel confident with. And you can always explore that with a medical professional or a counselor to determine what it is that you are comfortable with if you're interested in taking those small steps to explore that area.
Yeah, and then to piggyback on that too, I think even what you can do is just to talk with a mentor, somebody that's just going to be down to earth, that you could share with, that you trust, to say, this is how I feel when I see certain things. What's up with that? And just really finding that mentor that could kind of help you and walk you through, how you're feeling, so forth and so on. So I just wanted to add that to what Ms. McLean said.
All right, awesome. There was another question in the box that I went ahead and typed the answer, but the question was basically, does Sam Houston have a gynecologist? And the answer is yes. Her name is Dr. Yant. She wears all black and she is fabulous. So
He is.
she's something else. But you can, if you are interested in seeing Dr. Yant specifically, you can let the scheduler know when you're making your appointment for your one woman exam. But we also have two other providers who can also, three other providers who can also do well women exams, in addition to Dr. Yant, who is our board certified GYN.
Mm-hmm. You will love Dr. Yant. The other three providers, two are female, one is male, because some people do want a male provider. I have sat in with them and they are all quick, to the point, it's done. And they both, all of them give a lot of education. Dr. Yant gives you, I call her the bad grandma, because you will love her and you will just, she's going to take care of you and you will know a lot. When you leave the appointment, you will know a lot, and she is always reachable. So.
All right, next question. How can you talk to your partner about getting checked without making them upset before going any further in the relationship?
Wow, I think that's a really good question. I think that there's really no wrong or right way to approach it. You really don't have any control over their emotions or feelings. Mm-hmm. But the key thing is that you're safe and that you're practicing safe sex. And if you feel comfortable with your partner getting checked first, then I think that that's something that you should, hold to a standard. So it's really not about them being upset, but it's more about your security and about your health and your wellness. So I would just say, if they don't want to, then maybe they don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you wanted your partner to get checked, but if you're open and willing to it, you could kind of present it as in like, let's get checked out together, and you can get checked out as well, and kind of just make it like a couples thing or a partnership thing. And that way it kind of maybe takes away like some of the finger pointing or shaming or making them feel bad or anything like that. At the end of the day, it is about your boundaries and what you're comfortable with. But if you're open to it, you can also suggest going as well and just making it part of the partnership.
So, okay, so the next question is also another STI question. It says, I'm interested in anal sex, but I'm worried about getting an STI. Can you get one even if your partner was negative?
So the question is, can you get an STI if your partner tested negative?
Yes, from anal sex.
From anal sex. Okay, so the first thing is, are you sure your partner tested negative? Because we get that a lot. They said they tested negative, but do you really know they tested negative? And yes, you can get an STI. You can get an anal STIs you can get. So make sure you know that they are really negative, because we do get a lot of, well, they said, he said, she said.
Okay. But if the partner is truly negative, has gotten tested, has ran the full panel, there's no risk of contracting an STI through anal sex.
True.
still important to use protection. Just to give
Yes.
you that extra layer, peace of mind.
Mhm.
So just again, my 2 cents, but all right. If someone is allergic to latex, is there another form of protection?
Well, Brittany, you just did the condom Olympics.
Yes, I did. Yes.
This is your question.
So, yes, condoms come in all different shapes, sizes, materials. So there are non-latex condoms. They are a bit harder to find, but we have a fabulous pharmacy. So if you let them know you are looking for some non-latex condoms, they will be able to help you out. I know some old school non-latex condoms were made out of sheepskin or lambskin. So lambskin condoms, you can still buy them. They will provide protection from pregnancy, but they will not provide protection from STIs. So keep that in mind. Also, the internal condoms, they used to be called the female condoms. Internal condoms are FDA approved for vaginal use and for anal use. And those are made out of nitrile. So this similar materials to what exam gloves are made out of when you go to the health center. So that's also a non-latex option. So there are options out there. Okay, the next question. What is an appropriate body count?
Body count.
Do we all know what body count means? So it's an appropriate number of people to have slept with, to have had sex with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a Criminal Minds term. I mean, I'm gonna let you go.
To be honest, I think that's such a subjective thing. I don't really think there is a right or wrong answer to that. In my personal opinion and professional opinion, I think that as long as you're being safe about it and using protection, and if it's something that you enjoy, I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer there. I think that as a society, we do place stigmas around how many people someone has slept with. But really, if you're enjoying it, if you're using protection, if you're being safe, getting tested, all of those, getting checked out medically, all of those things, then enjoy.
I will say with increased body count, you need to increase your testing, your frequency of testing. So keep that in mind as your body count grows.
Awesome. Okay. So next question. Okay, we answered a question. It says, is it normal for women not to orgasm during sex but still enjoy it? We kind of answered that. So if you missed it, we're going to put this recording on YouTube, so you'll be able to go back and see how we answered that question. Okay, I have lost all sexual attraction to my significant other. How do I proceed in telling them without being toxic?
I would start out, simple as just as a conversation. And I think the most important thing in life that we can do whenever we're trying to relay a message across to someone is to talk from your heart. Really share your heart and what that entails, and to be honest and upfront. You never know how an individual is going to respond to what you share, but as long as it's sincere and you get that off your chest, and you talk about, what's there, if there are some barriers that you guys are facing in your relationship, and you talk about that, there may be an option or an opportunity for you guys to find a resolution. But I think the key thing is just to really share from your heart how you feel, and just go from there.
Yeah, sometimes writing it out first on a piece of paper and kind of gathering your thoughts before you talk to your partner can be very beneficial, because it kind of puts you in a more like rational mind, and so you can have that conversation. And also kind of exploring the reasons behind maybe why you aren't feeling that attraction anymore. For example, could it be you're just bored with the sexual activity in the bedroom and you want to change things up? And kind of exploring some of those reasons behind it. And depending on the reason, you may be able to problem solve with your partner on ways that you can rekindle that attraction. So kind of taking a more collaborative stance and working together with your partner to try to solve the issue can be beneficial for this as well.
Awesome. All right, the next question is, any advice on finding or getting into a relationship during the pandemic?
I kind of feel like a lot of people know about dating apps nowadays. But yeah, I mean, you can still use dating apps and chat with people through various apps and methods. I know we're all kind of Zoom fatigued, but you can always arrange a Zoom call or a WhatsApp call or a FaceTime call and kind of plan like virtual dates. Um, if you feel safe enough, maybe you could plan a date outside in a park, but using masks and making sure that you're washing your hands and not. I mean, staying 6 feet apart during a date may not be necessarily like the most ideal thing, but just maintaining safe practices while you're outside on a date. So kind of getting a little bit creative in ways that you can still engage with the other person through these trying times.
And I would add in dating apps are super popular. I know a lot of people, not a lot, but there are people who feel like ashamed to say, "Oh, I met somebody off of Tinder." It's so normal now. It's the norm. So, but be careful. You always want to use caution, especially when you're meeting up with them for the first time. Just use caution. Be careful.
As the COVID nurse, I want to tell you to stay away from each other, but use apps. I see a lot of people are using apps more because you don't have the mingling like you used to. People aren't on campus as much as they used to be. So it is a little bit harder now. So use the apps. Wear your mask and stay 6 feet apart.
Outside dates too. Go outside. Get some sun. Get some vitamin D.
Yeah.
Even to add to that, for those of you that may not necessarily have a cell phone, which that's kind of unheard of in this day and age, I think the other piece to that is if you have a regular phone or just, hey, ask for their number and say, hey, can we talk on just on the telephone? And then get to know each other that way. So that's my other piece to that. Should you not have a cell phone or a computer? I doubt it, but.
Okay, let's see. The next one. How can I make my boyfriend understand that I cannot use soap on my vagina?
Okay, I guess I'll take that one. Okay, so you can explain it to him. In the end, it's your body. And you are protecting your body. Using soap can throw off your pH balance, and then you have other issues come up. So, in the end, it's your body, not his. You have control of your body. You can explain it to him. If he still doesn't get it, then take care of yourself. Put yourself first.
All right. Yes. And then I think the next time he goes to see his doctor, he should ask that question. Can my girlfriend use soap in her vagina? And let the doctor set him straight, because I guarantee they're going to. All right, next question. What are some ways I can be more confident in myself and my lady parts? A lot of times I get insecure about my lady parts, even when my partner is giving me oral.
I think that our society has really, we tend to body shame people a lot, and we do tend to body shame private parts just as much as other parts of a woman's body. Um, so, but to be honest, you just have to recognize and understand that there are a wide variety of female genitalia out there, all shapes, sizes, different the ways they look. Um, and I think a lot of times, you know, especially when you look at like douching commercials and feminine washes and products and deodorants, it's like our our lady parts are supposed to just be like this clean, delicate flower that smells like lilacs like all of the time, and just be pristine and shaved and all of this stuff. And to be honest, that's just stuff. That's just marketing or companies trying to market you stuff. So it doesn't have. It's going to probably have an odor. If it has a foul odor, definitely get checked out. But genitalia comes in all shapes and sizes. There's different odors. You can shave, not shave, trim, wax, you know, whatever it is that you prefer. Some people, you know, don't shave or do anything down there, and that's completely fine. So it's it's really kind of about just owning like who you are, what you like, and just kind of owning the fact that your vagina is what it is, and um, you know, just kind of shucking off some of the stuff that these companies are trying to market to you and the stigma that is associated with this stuff by society. Um, because you, whatever type that you have, it's what you have, and it is perfectly acceptable just the way that it is.
Yeah, I agree. And there is it was kind of an art installation. I'm not sure where it went up. I think in a school, the Indiana Bloomington School of Public Health. But if you Google the I think it's either the Vagina Project or the Labia Project. It was an artist that kind of came up with a bunch of different um, labias and vulvas, and they all look different. I mean, there were tons, and some there were painted, there were 3D, but they all look different, and all of it, it all looks different. So again, there is no normal. It is what you have. So, and it's the only one you're gonna have. So learn to love it.
I have seen them from age 18 to age 98. They all look different.
Okay, this question, and I'm going to interpret it a little bit, so definitely put it in the chat if I'm interpreting it wrong. It says, "What are some ways you can stay on top of sex while having intercourse and focusing on your partner?" So I'm assuming they're asking how can they stay in the moment and focus on their partner while having intercourse.
Again, I think it's just kind of if you find yourself drifting away, being mindful of that, acknowledging that, and bring your focus back to the present moment. Really focusing in on the sensations that you are feeling, both physical and emotional and mentally. And then also just kind of bring your focus back to your partner as well. And also kind of focus on sensory experiences, like focus on um, how your partner feels under your touch. How do they taste? How do they smell? What are the sounds that they're making? You know, just kind of things like that, and just focus on basically what's there in the moment, using your senses, and using those mindful techniques to bring any distracting thoughts or wandering thoughts back into the present, and just enjoy the sensations that you're experiencing, even if that sensation is giving pleasure to your partner.
Okay, so we've kind of had a discussion about the smell of the vulva, the smell of the vagina. But this question says, why does my boyfriend's uncircumcised penis always smell bad?
It could be the way that he is cleaning or not cleaning. With uncircumcised penises, you do have to pull the foreskin back to clean because bacteria can collect there.
All right. Next question is, can you get chlamydia again after treating it? Is it treatable the second time? Are you supposed to know every partner you tested for chlamydia or who's tested for chlamydia prior to sleeping with them?
There was a lot there.
That was a lot. Let me know. Okay, so first question, can you get chlamydia again after treating it?
Yes. Also, there is a time frame before you have sex again after treatment. The treatment for chlamydia is usually a large dose of antibiotic, and then you're to refrain from sex anywhere. Some say 8, some say 14, some say 10. You're supposed to refrain from having sex during that time period, and sometimes people have sex before that. So you can catch it again. You can be treated and it is cleared, and then next month you go have sex with someone who has chlamydia and you can catch it again. So yes, you can catch chlamydia again. And what was the second part, Brittany?
Is it treatable the second time?
It is treatable the second time. Same thing, they'll give you the antibiotic and tell you to refrain from having sex from anywhere from 8 to 14 days.
The last part, I'm assuming they're asking, should you know if your partner has tested positive for chlamydia prior to sleeping with them?
You should know people's STI status, their sexual health status, not just for chlamydia, but gonorrhea, herpes. You should know their status. HIV, before you sleep with them, know their status. Like Miss McLean said, hey, make it let's go together and get tested. Make it a date to the health center.
that there are entertaining people up there, so you'll have your entertainment.
Lunch date.
Okay, so I think we have time for maybe 2 more questions. So I apologize if we don't get your question answered. But y'all just had a lot of really great questions this year. So the next question, I always want to have good hygiene before having sex with my wife, but I also do not want to shower every day because I have dry skin and daily showers dry me out more. Maybe daily showers are too frequent. I would like to hear any advice you have about how I can balance both of those considerations.
Nurse Debbie, I think that's you.
She is avoiding her nursely responsibility over here.
Well, after the Isagen or Snowvid or whatever you want to call it, we have learned how to take smaller showers. That is an issue sometimes with people who have skin issues, dry skin. Daily showers dries their skin out too much. But if making sure that your parts are clean, then just clean them. You don't have to take a full bath. You can take a spot bath. I'm not gonna call it what some people call it.
You try not to say whole bath.
And I will add to that. My daughter has like eczema, and one of the things that and I'm not a professional, so I'm not giving you any professional advice here, but one of the things that they shared with us is to make sure that after she takes her shower, not to dry off, but to take natural oils and to place it on her body while she's wet, and that way the moisture kind of soaks in as well. So maybe that's something that you can try and see if your skin won't dry out if you kind of don't dry off and you kind of put some natural oils on your skin. So maybe that's something you can try. Not a professional again, but again, that may be something that you may want to try. It worked for my daughter. So.
All right, so this is the last question we're going to ask again. I think we have a few questions that we didn't get to, so I apologize. If you want to email your questions to me, I can get them to the appropriate person. I will put my email in the chat. It is bjc054@shsu.edu. So you can get your questions answered that way as well. So our last question, it says, I would like to have sex, but I'm worried about my body. What if they think I'm fat, or that my body is not what they expected?
Oh, as someone who's one of my research interest areas is body image issues, and so a lot, again, this all comes back to like our society and culture. We very much place an emphasis on what people look like, and for women, and but also for men and people who of different genders. And really, it's a lot of it is just BS. If I'm just being honest, and we teach particularly girls, but also other genders from a very young age that they have to look a certain way in order to be considered worthy, to be considered attractive. And then it becomes that our bodies are like our primary focus. And if we don't have like a nice body, or if we don't look a certain way, that means we can't offer anything to anyone. We're just completely worthless, which is honestly a bunch of crap. And just recognize that the diet industry just likes to market things to people. They want to sell you things, so they promote a lot of these things as well. And just recognize that you have a lot more to offer than just a body. You are more than just a body. You have a wide range of other things to offer someone. And to be honest, if they can't appreciate that, then that's on them. That's not on you. And just own your self-worth and your positive qualities. And if they're not into that, then they're not the right person for you.
Agreed. Wonderfully said. So that's going to do it for our questions. Our panelists, do you all have any last words or anything you want to wrap up with?
I mean, I would just say that as you guys are transitioning through life, understand that as you walk through life, there's going to be moments and times where you're going to be discovering who you are. And then I think the other piece is to understand is that the only thing in life that's consistent is change. And so continue to grow, continue to change, and continue to ask questions. So that's what I have to say.
I would say love yourself, value yourself, practice self-care. And also, Health Center is open. We are there to help you answer questions. The Office of Health Promotion is also there to answer and help you get through this journey. We're all here to help you. You are not alone.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone for their questions. You all had some really great questions. And I think that just when it comes to sex, there can be a lot of stigma attached to it. There can be a lot of these thoughts that it's a taboo subject. We shouldn't be talking about it. But I think that we should be working to break through some of those stigmas and those barriers, and just being open and honest about what is normal, what we enjoy, what we don't enjoy, establishing our values and beliefs and boundaries around sexual activity. And don't be afraid to reach out if you need to talk to someone. SHSU has a great counseling center, so you can always reach out to them as well if you feel the need to talk to a mental health professional about anything.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. Thank you, panelists, for your expertise. This was fun. Let's do it again next semester. Looking at you, Nurse Debbie. So if you all would stick around just for 1 second, I'm going to launch a poll. So please give us your honest feedback. And then again, you will get a email tomorrow just with questions that we have about how you may have enjoyed our Kiss Week events. And we will be raffling off some Kiss Week shirts. I've got mine on right now. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. And thank you again, speakers. So after you've done the poll, feel free to log out and enjoy your evening. Thank y'all.